right, now that we've got the motor in our program, we need to be able to create the plastic housing around it. We're going to start by creating a sketch of the back, using the back of the motor so we can capture all these different holes exactly where they are. And then we're going to extrude that center circle out. Then we'll add the arms and then the outside shroud and then the foot and everything to it and extrude out that way. Notice how the foot starts at the back and extends only part of the way towards the front. We'll get all of that done. All right, so first thing to first is flip it over, look at the back of the motor. We're going to create a sketch here on this back flat surface, not on the little circle here or one of these planes, but on this larger circle here. That'll capture all the holes in our drawing for us right away. So I'm going to create a sketch there. Then I'm going to, I want to make this circle on the bottom that holds the motor bigger than the motor. So to figure out how big the motor is, I'm going to do a P for project. And notice how this line here isn't on my drawing, but if I click on it now, it's going to add this purple line, which is lined up with that outside circle. If I click back over to the sketch, it's lined up. I'm going to click OK. So this purple line captures the outside of the motor itself, and I need to go another 2 millimeters farther out. So I'm going to click here on the offset tool and click, and then I'm going to type in 2 millimeters here and hit enter. Now I've got a circle that's 2 millimeters wider than my base. I can now extrude out the base of the plastic. So I'm going to E for extrude. I'm going to grab this outer circle, this inner circle, and this middle here. I don't want to include this bottom or any of these because these are the screw holes. Now what I'm going to do is I want to extrude this up the side of the motor, but I don't want to cover up this part of the motor at all because that's the part that spins. I don't want my base rubbing against that. So instead of trying to drag it the right distance, which would be really hard to do, I'm going to actually do over here, I'm going to choose where it says extent type. I'm going to choose to object, and then I'm going to zoom in, and I'm trying to get inside this little lip right there. That's the surface I want to extrude to. Boom. And you can see it just brought that extrusion up. Now, Fusion assumed what I wanted to do was cut away the bottom of the motor, but I don't want to do that. So over here on operation, I'm going to, instead of choose cut, I'm going to choose new body. And now you can see it's creating that gray new body that's going to be the base of my plastic. Uh-oh. All right, let's try it again. To object. I must have clicked on something on accident. I'm going to get in here to this little crevice in here and pick up. Maybe I won't. There it is. Pick up that extrusion. I've never had such a problem doing that. Now before I hit extrude and I hit OK, whoa, my computer is really wonky. Okay, it's really slow right now for some reason. Before I extrude, I actually want to create this because right now it's right at the very bottom of the motor. I want to extrude the back out 2 millimeters as well. So what I'm going to do is do a, instead of one side, I'm going to do a two-sided extrusion. Notice how I get a second extrusion arrow here now. I'm going to pull it back till it says -2 millimeters or type in -2 millimeters. And now I'm going to click OK. All right, so it just created an extrusion for me. That is the motor base. So that's pretty cool that we got that done that easily. And notice how it has all the holes for the screws exactly lined up already, and the center hole is already in there. There is one problem though. If you notice, there's the wires coming out of the motor here. If I turn the motor off, there's no hole for the wires and there's no hole for the motor to sit down into. We need to cut those next. To do that's really easy. We're just going to come up here to the combine tool in the modify menu. Our target body is the thing that we're going to cut. In this case, it's going to be this bottom piece of plastic. The tool is the thing that we're going to cut with. Well, we're going to use the motor to cut it out with. And if yours says join, it may start as join, it'll all be blue like this. We don't want to join them together into one piece. We want to cut them. So I'm going to choose this middle cut part and then make sure that keep tools is checked. If it's unchecked and you click OK, it deletes the motor for you. You can see my motor is missing now. So I'm going to fix it. I'm going to right click on the combine and do edit feature. If you make a mistake on a feature, you can just right click on it and do edit and redo what you want to do. Make sure Keep Tools is turned on, and then click OK. Now when I hide the motor, notice it's cut out the little place for the motor, exactly the right shape and size, and it has a hole here for the wires. Okay, so far so good, we're rocking. Next thing we're gonna do, so that creates this bottom circle. The next thing we're gonna do is there needs to be a little cutout, I don't know if you can see it, where the wires come through right there. Right now we have this hole, but the wires aren't gonna be able to get through that hole. We need to cut away this piece of plastic in here. So I'm going to create a sketch up here on the top surface of this top edge, and then I'm going to come in here and I need to know how wide the hole is. So I'm going to use P for project, and I'm going to click on that semicircle and that curve, and I'm going to say OK. And then I'm going to take a construction line. So grab your line tool, come over here under line type, click on construction here, and I'm going to draw a construction line from this top circle to that top circle, and it just drew that line in for me. Now I'm going to come over here and grab my rectangle tool, and I'm going to grab a center point rectangle, and I'm going to find the center of this construction line. I know it's the center because a little triangle will pop up. I'm going to click on that line and drag a, whoops. Before I click again, I'm going to come over here and turn the construction lines off so I get a solid line. I'm going to drag it, it doesn't really matter how big, I'm going to drop it. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to orient this rectangle like this, so it's like tangent to this curve, so parallel to this line right across here basically. But I can't do that right now because of this constraint. This is the horizontal constraint. It looks like a little brush or a little comb. And it's holding this line right here horizontal, so it can't be tipped. So all I'm going to do is just click on it so you can see how it's gray now, and when I click on it it's blue, and then I'm going to hit delete. And now that constraint should go away. And I'm going to come up here and use my parallel tool, and that's going to force this line to be parallel the construction line, the black construction line I drew, and that will turn my rectangle this way. All right. Next thing I want to do is I want to get my width looks pretty good. I want to be a little bit wider, but not much. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to try to hit a yeah, I don't think I can do that. Okay, escape, and let's see. I'm going to grab this line and drag it over. Whoops. Or maybe I'm not going to do that. There we go. Can do it that way. And I want to go just beyond this. Let's go ahead and dimension it to get it right. So I'm going to hit the D key for dimensioning. I'm going to click on this outside line. Hit escape real quick. Something was wrong. So if anything isn't clicking right or not working well, escape will clear out all the tools that you're in and start you from scratch. So I hit escape 4 or 5 times, ESC. D for dimensioning. Click on this outside line, pull down a little bit, and then drop that line down here. And we will do, yeah, 8.5 millimeters. Enter. And that's good. And then make sure that these two, I'm going to hit escape to get out of the dimensioning tool. Make sure that these two, whoops, that these two outer lines, that they extend past the edge of the motor just like this. All right, now I'm ready to extrude and cut this piece away. So I'm going to hit E for extrude. I'm going to cut all 3 of these pieces, and I'm going to extrude down. Notice when I extrude down, it starts cutting. And instead of trying to guess the right distance to go to, I'm going to click here and say to object, and then I'm going to click on this bottom piece right here, and that will extrude it all the way down to barely just touching that surface. And we have cut is the operation we want. Yep, we want to cut. We're going to click OK. So now what we have, instead of a hole for the wires to slide through, we've got a slot that they can just go right into. It's going to make everything work much, much better. All right. Next thing. We'll pick up in the next video. So this next video will show you make the lines out to here, the arms and the shroud and the foot, and then extrude all of that up. Awesome. Good job so far. Hang in there.